Today I'm here in the tavern with my friend Roz from Angel House Designs. Together, Roz and I are going to transform this disastrous mess in my tavern to a beautiful and warm, cozy Christmas room. Join us. You're going to love what you see. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our holiday specials. I am here with Roz from Angel House Designs. And today we're going to be working on the tavern and changing everything, and it's going to be so much fun. Roz, why don't you tell us what we're up to?
Well, we are creating a setting to have your Christmas Eve dinner and reorganizing the tavern a little bit with some new furniture that you found on Marketplace.
That you found on Marketplace.
That I called you up and said, this would be good in your tavern room. You have to take this. But, you know, this is some Flamestitch that we found. This was called Historic Flame, and these pieces are probably 20 years old, maybe a little bit more. And it's really rare to find pieces that have a Flamestitch in good condition. Flamestitch isn't made very much anymore, and when you can find it, it's very expensive. And so to find pieces that are a good deal with Flamestitch in great condition is an opportunity. And so I knew that Anne didn't have any Flamestitch in her house. And I always say, if you have an early house, you should have a little bit of Flamestitch somewhere because everybody would have had Flamestitch.
Flamestitch fabric, known for its bold zigzag or flame-like pattern, has deep roots in the colonial period, especially in America. Originally developed in 16th century Italy, Flamestitch spread through Europe and became popular in the 17th and 18th centuries. As settlers arrived in America, they brought Flamestitch patterns with them, using them for upholstery, coverlets, and furnishings. The fabric became a symbol of wealth and was often used in wealthier colonial homes. The hand-woven technique was time-consuming, making it more accessible to the upper class. Flamestitch was commonly used in chairs, bed covers, cushions, and curtains. Its striking zigzag design was favored for adding vibrancy and movement to formal rooms. In the southern colonies, artisans even began creating their own versions of the fabric using local dyes like indigo. While Flamestitch's popularity waned as neoclassical styles took over, its influence persisted in American quilts and furniture design. Today, Flamestitch continues to be celebrated as part of colonial textile history, blending European craftsmanship with American innovation. You can also see it readily in modern textile design.
And so it's really awesome, and I just love it so much. So we reorganized this room and created a nice eating area that's flexible, that you can use for lounging or for eating or for playing games or doing whatever. And we made a little dinner to enjoy.
We did! Well, this is wonderful. So we're going to start working our magic.
All right.
Okay.
I love that this is centered under your chandelier and that the light of the room kind of comes from all sides when it's centered. Mm-hmm. I like just visually having a little bit more space around it. Mm-hmm. I like that you guys could sit here and eat next to each other. You have this little seating spot. Yeah, see, like, I love that bench. Look, I mean, it's a little bit tight to have it there as you need to tuck it, but I love sitting on a bench. And I don't know, I kind of like this against a wall in this room because although you could put it there, but that feels very obtrusive, and I love the openness in here. this is too light. I think it's really like this, and we can tuck. I don't know, what do you think? Like that could be a nice Christmassy thing. That's boring. This isn't big enough, but we could do something with this. So I think it's...
You should talk about this fabric.
Okay, this is the Shelburne stencil. Normally we would make a finished pillow in this color, but this is like our test fabric to see how it looks here. This Shelburne stencil is a reproduction fabric, and of course it's reversible like many of our homespun fabrics. It's all hand dyed. Fun holiday, kind of wintry print. This Flamestitch was called the historic Flamestitch. And for years and years and years, this was probably the most popular Flamestitch. And then they discontinued it. They brought it back and tried to remake it, but they didn't really weave it the same way. It had like a rubber backing and it just wasn't the same. And if you ever come across these on Marketplace, like Anne did, like you might want to scoop them up. Sometimes people now, because there aren't as many made anymore and people aren't used to seeing them in early houses or in primitive furniture, a lot of times people don't like them, find them too busy.
This one,
yeah,
I'm so in love with that.
This is a we call this the diamond flame, and it's really just a diamond pattern, but it's like an ode to a flame. And I think you need a pillow in the old red.
Okay.
The mustard, maybe two 20-inch mustards, and then two 14-inch old red. Or it could be do you prefer in here this saffron or that old red? Like, forget about the pattern, just the color. Which one do you like better?
And this would have been my first, the William and Mary, but I'm so in love with this fabric. I don't know, you know? And there's something about this that ties it really well into the next room. Now this is a little bit of an off.
Yeah, this is warmer.
Right, right.
I could see, I could see a little chair in this corner.
Yeah,
yeah. And it's not too contrasty.
Right.
Brings together, so maybe it's this. I always feel like whenever you're picking anything for your house, you have to think about what's the story of the house and where are you geographically.
Interesting.
Because furniture was different in different geographic areas.
Right,
This is more William and Mary, so this is more like, you know, mid-Atlantic.
Okay.
More, I mean, which isn't to say you can't do it here.
But you'd want to do that in Virginia.
Yeah, or even maybe up into Pennsylvania.
Okay.
But I feel like this is more Connecticut.
Uh-huh.
So I would say maybe that one.
Yeah.
And we could put this on an older chair. All right, so that'll be a future preview of a future project. Okay.
Okay.
We never recommend that you use any cleaners other than organic baby wipes, which can be used for spot cleaning as long as you don't saturate the fabric with them.
Yep.
Like you kind of want to pull out the stain with them.
Right.
But that said, you know, if furniture is stored for a very short amount of time, if you just vacuum your furniture once a month, you're going to keep it really clean. I just love this, especially in a tavern room. By the way, this is a fabric that was in the public house in the Ebenezer Tavern room for years and years and years. And so also just iconic because if you ever went to the public house in the 80s and 90s.
And you did.
This is what all our Angel House furniture was in there. In that tavern.
Wow.
And I just remember all the little pieces being, pulled up to the table as you'd be sitting there in front of the fire. So anyway, this is a fun fabric for this tavern room, you know, it's just the perfect fit. These steins are kind of a family tradition. In my family, we have a really big collection of them. Probably too many of them, but they're fun to drink out of. My uncle collected steins and gave them as gifts to my dad, and throughout their whole lives. This was a tradition at every gift-giving holiday, and so my dad ended up with hundreds of steins. My dad was an architect, and he had also studied art history. He came from a family that collected a lot of antiques, and my mom bought our 1710 salt box in 1974 and restored it, and in order to furnish it, they bought a lot of antique furniture from estate sales and auctions and flea markets. And my dad, being the kind of architect that he wanted to make new ones that looked like the old ones. And my mom had a lot of design sense, and so they, as a team, created this business to build this reproduction furniture. And of course, in the 70s, early American furniture was all the rage, but they really copied all of these old, authentic, antiques. Their first business, the Seraph, that made all of these pieces. In 1980, my dad created Angel House and designed a whole new series of pieces. It's really about doing interior design and creating these custom furniture pieces that can fit your house, but that are authentic and that support you in your effort to restore or create authentic interiors. I just really love this. I feel like Flamestitch in a tavern room near the fire is so iconic and warm and inviting. I usually am not big on using the same fabric on all the upholstered furniture in one room, but in this room, it's so nice to have the same fabric on both pieces. It really makes your eye go back and forth. It ties together the colors of the room, and it's really actually calming to just have this fabric mirrored on this side. This is so wonderful in a room that has a fireplace and a fire going, and in a tavern room.